Reince, this is a question about your fellow Wisconsinites, Scott Walker and Paul Ryan. They both, in their own way, have really shaken things up politically with pretty dramatic policy proposals that weren't really on the table in front of voters in the last campaign. Scott Walker didn't campaign, certainly not explicitly, on his collective bargaining proposals, and Paul Ryan had his roadmap, but the party and his colleagues had not embraced anything like the Medicare reforms that he's put into the Republican budget. So my question is, can you argue that these are things that voters voted for in 2010? Can you argue that there's any kind of a mandate for the party to be pursuing these policies, or do you look to 2012 as an opportunity to get that mandate?
Well, I mean, I think that there's a mandate by virtue of the fact that we truly are on a completely unsustainable path for fiscal solvency in our country. And I think that you're seeing the rhetoric from Barack Obama and Democrats along the same lines, except that they can't follow through for whatever reason on the rhetoric, in that we are on an unsustainable path both economically in our deficits and our debt and our entitlement programs in our country, in Washington. And I think that Paul Ryan is taking the first serious steps in addressing those issues here. So as far as a mandate, I would say yes, I think the Republicans have a mandate to act. Obviously, one of the biggest Republican victories in the history of our country took place in 2010. As you know, it was also one of the biggest Republican victories in the history of the state of Wisconsin that we had in 2010. So I think both, yes, we have a mandate from the American people, but I think more importantly than a mandate is that we have a fiscal reality in our country that requires us to get serious about where we are fiscally in this country. To Wisconsin, I would say the same thing. That, you know, Scott Walker wasn't shy when he was running for governor in Wisconsin in regard to what he would be willing to do in order to put our fiscal train back on the rails in our state. Now, he did specifically discuss having state employees pay a little bit more in regard to their health care, a little bit more in regard to their pension benefit payment, and I think he came out very specifically on that issue. Now, as you know, and I won't, I'll wrap up quickly because I know we've got a lot of people ask questions, but one of the things that isn't very well reported at all is the fact that Wisconsin has a very unique shared revenue program in the state of Wisconsin. Now, I'll just say this. We have a 2/3, 1/3 formula in Wisconsin. We have over 1,400 local governments in Wisconsin. What that means is the Kenosha Unified School District, where I'm from, the state of Wisconsin, Department of Revenue, Department of Public Instruction, they give the Kenosha Unified School District a maximum number that they can levy on their budget. Let me see, their budget number is set at a maximum level. And under Wisconsin law, the Kenosha Unified School District can only levy up to 1/3 of that total that is given to them from the Department of Revenue and Department of Public Instruction. So the state of Wisconsin gives 2/3 of the money. Well, if the state of Wisconsin, and it's been going this way for years, can't give the 66% to the Kenosha Unified School District, and they haven't for years, by the way, but say they can give 62, 63%, but they can only levy up to 1/3 of the total, then you have a gap. Well, that's why these issues have to be addressed through some tweaks to collective bargaining and having state employees pay a little bit more in their pension and their health care benefit. I mean, you can see, I can get in the weeds on this issue. I know this issue. I know, but I'm telling you, yeah, I won't anymore. But these are not simple things under Wisconsin law. And I think that the governor's done a fabulous job of addressing it. And I believe that the Prosser-Kloppenberg race is, again, reaffirmation that Wisconsin has truly turned red. And with everything coming at the Republicans in Wisconsin, with all the money and all of this supposed enthusiasm, Republicans win again, and conservatives win with the Supreme Court race and David Prosser.